Ms. Jessica Tan.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, thank you for allowing me to join the debate. There are three areas that I wish to touch on in my speech today. One, helping businesses cope with the disruptions of COVID-19. Two, the COVID-19 Recovery Grant, the temporary scheme, to help lower and middle income individuals whose income have been impacted. And three, mental wellness support for individuals and businesses. With more than a year and a half of living with COVID-19, while businesses are now more ready to adapt with the disruptions in demand and business volumes that have demand and business volumes have taken a beating when operations have had to stop or scale back due to the various phases, and most recently, Phase 2 Heightened Alert. For consumer-facing businesses, example, food businesses, gyms, personal services, many have not been able to do dine-in or to continue offering their services during the Phase 2 Heightened Alert and Phase 3A, or have had to scale back significantly. However, overheads and ongoing business costs still need to be paid. Manpower and rental are major business expenses. The Job Support Scheme, or JSS, the rental relief, access to credit, have been critical in supporting businesses tied over. The support is important for businesses to stay afloat, adapt, and pivot for the new normal, as well as to enable workers to stay employed. The support measures announced for Phase 2 Heightened Alert, Phase 3 Heightened Alert, and this current Phase 2 Heightened Alert are timely and much needed. Managing costs, however, can only go so far. This prolonged disruption and uncertainties have and will continue to impact cash flow for even the most prepared and sound businesses if demand and capacity to operate is significantly lower over a prolonged period of time. To survive and to get back on track, businesses must be able to continue to do business. The waves of disruptions have shown us that COVID-19 will be with us for some time, and the new norm will include living with COVID. I'm thankful that the ministers in the ministerial statement yesterday gave us a view of the roadmap of opening up, and this gives some idea of the steps and a line of sight of how businesses can expect in terms of going forward. Albeit, I think the caveat is still that we may continue to still face bumps, or some bumps along the way. The cost of doing business, we have to recognize that the cost of doing business has increased with the additional actions needed for the safe management measures. And just to name a few, this includes additional manpower to ensure customer compliance with SMM and regular testing of staff. For the safety of everyone, SMM are needed. So while giving relief to businesses to deal with the impact of COVID-19 has helped in the immediate and the interim, we do need to find ways to better handle the cost of operating in the new normal, as the SMM will still be required on an ongoing basis. So can ministers share if there are any measures to reduce and effectively manage the costs of SMM required of businesses in the new norm? How can the cost of routine antigen rapid tests or the polymerase chain reaction tests and the ART self-test kits be made more affordable for businesses, as they will be ongoing costs? As businesses pivot and adapt with the new business models, there may be a need to also rethink the use of physical spaces. For many businesses, rental cost is usually a major part of the operating costs. So as businesses transform, they may need less space or may need to relocate due to the changes in the type of space required. Rental reliefs and cost sharing among stakeholders are welcomed in the short term. But what help can there be to allow businesses the flexibility for amicable restructuring of tenancy contracts without significant penalties, while cushioning some of the impact for landlords. Let me now touch on the COVID-19 Recovery Grant, or the CRGT scheme. The extension and the coverage of the scheme is intended to provide short-term support to lower and middle-income employees and self-employed persons who've suffered from sudden and significant income loss during this period. Given that the pandemic has been ongoing for a year and a half and still is with us, the impact of COVID-19 on individuals has been prolonged, and not just this period of heightened alert. Just like businesses, employees and self-employed persons have been dealing with the many waves over the last 1.5 years since the outbreak. Can consideration for eligibility be given to individuals who meet the eligibility criteria for the CRGT scheme and need the support, but live in properties with annual value above $21,000, but do not own the property or own only one property? Let me now touch on my last point on mental wellness. As Minister Lawrence Wong had highlighted in the ministerial statement that, I quote, "This has been a long and difficult journey," unquote. People have had to deal with the stress of adjusting and living with the restrictions and disruptions brought about by this pandemic. This has affected everyone in the way we live, work, and play. The COVID-19 Mental Wellness Task Force was formed late last year to review the impact of COVID-19, to take stock of the various initiatives introduced by government to support the mental needs of Singaporeans and to identify the gaps. Can ministers share if more support will be given to help individuals cope with the stress and pressures brought about by the long-drawn pandemic? What help can be given to employers to put in place the appropriate employee support programs to promote mental health and wellness? And what more can be done to provide appropriate support for individuals? Mr. Deputy Speaker, this is not an easy time for everyone. To overcome the challenges that this pandemic brings requires all of us to do our part to keep Singapore and everyone safe. Despite the current outbreak, we have made progress, and I am confident that together we will emerge stronger. I support the supplementary supply bill. Thank you.